Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, Ziva, in knowledge, Lady Mocha. Represent Mocha's Cafe de Paddlers, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Big ups to all of my subscribers. I know a few of you have been keeping up with me through the community chat, where I've been posting a couple of things here and there. And I know y'all been wondering what I've been up to, why I haven't uploaded in the last couple of weeks or days, so have it. Unlike a lot of these content creators on here who are so obsessed and consumed with constantly giving content, they put so much energy into social media that they forget to make time for their real social life. Unlike them, I always make sure I give my real life, the people in my life outside of social media, my time and my energy. It's been a lot of things I had to catch up on. I had to spend time with my husband, keeping up with my daughter, making sure she's straight. She has her own apartment and everything. So it's been a lot of, things that I had to do as far as my own personal life to take care of. So it's very important that sometimes we don't become so consumed and so infatuated with views and with always having to be the first to jump on every hot topic that we hear at hand. It's imperative that you make that time for your family and your friends and your loved ones or whatever off social media. So that's basically what I've been doing, y'all. But nevertheless, I definitely want to get into this recipe, this topic right away, because it's most likely it's probably going to be a while before I do a live stream. I'm going to be doing a lot of recorded podcasts, a lot of recorded sessions, just so I can have time to still balance and take care of personal things. And once all of that is established, I'll go back to live streaming. So we'll probably be doing a premiere. I might even make this one a premiere, that way I can hang out in the chat room with y'all while we're viewing this recorded session together. So it all depends on what I got going. But for those of you who haven't been keeping up, I'm sure you probably have heard this story. If you haven't already, we have 24-year-old black male Nathaniel Rowland, who had murdered a 21-year-old by the name of Samantha Josephson, who mistakenly mistaked Rowland's car as an Uber ride. She was simply getting a ride so she could go back to her apartment. This was a simple error that unfortunately cost her life, and this demon took advantage of the opportunity to take her life. He could have simply told her, I'm not your Uber driver, and she would have not entered into his car. But he took advantage of the opportunity, and this is a prime example that wickedness is always on a mission, even when you're paying attention or not paying attention. Proverbs chapter 6 verses 16 through 19. There are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord among brothers. So this demon definitely took the opportunity to move quick. He caught this young woman at a vulnerable moment in which she, as I stated, mistakenly got into his vehicle thinking that he was an Uber driver coming to pick her up. And this was a simple mistake any person could have made. I've done it. I missed and got into a car that I thought was mine because the person left the door unlocked. This is just simple human mistakes. It wasn't like this young woman intentionally put herself in harm's way. She didn't meet this guy online and went to go meet with him in a disclosed area, not telling her friends or her family, or she's been an undercover prostitute and trying to make some money on the side and meeting with this stranger. This woman did absolutely nothing wrong to cause herself to have to meet this type of demise. This evil infested individual took full advantage of this innocent woman who had no clue that her life was in danger. She wasn't out getting high, as I stated, or doing something negligent to cause herself to be in danger. She simply just got in the wrong car. That could have happened to anybody. Rowland trapped her in the car with his child-proof locks on, and she was never seen again. Her body was later found with 120 stab wounds. Talking about an overkill. In the woods 65 miles from Columbia, South Carolina. No motive for the killing could be established, so the judge ruled the killer as totally heartless. First Peter chapter 5 verse 8, be sober minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the evil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. And this is definitely a true scripture, because let me tell y'all something, even when you're not paying attention, and a prime example is with the rapper Young Dolph. This man, and this is off a subject, but this is in relation to this story. This man just went in his old neighborhood to go get some cookies. He's not thinking that getting some cookies, would be the end of his life. I'm sure had he been in the hood 4 or 5 in the morning, just driving by, driving through the gang, stricken areas, intentionally trying to meet danger, then I'm sure, it would have been different, because of course that's something he could have seen coming when you put yourself in those type of situations when you're a star of his status, and you're riding around that late at night, knowing there's nothing out there but trouble. That is something you could kind of foresee happening. But it was daylight, it wasn't a lot of people out, and of course these goons, caught him off guard. All he wanted to do was just get some cookies, to be a human being. And there was a lot of people who gave him a lot of heat, saying he was stupid, he was dumb, why he didn't have security with him. Who's going to think to have security with you getting some cookies? I mean, I get it. He is a big star. But keep in mind, big stars, they want to be human sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to always have a chaperone or security, just because you want to get some toothpaste from Walgreens or CVS. Sometimes you need that moment to be human. But unfortunately, that moment cost him, and it took him his life. And this is a prime example of the scripture about being sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. And this is the times that we're living in. We're dealing with these evil, infested individuals. They are constantly on the prowl, y'all. Even when you making a simple mistake, you could have missed not to put gas in your car that morning, and just that one moment of laziness, of not wanting to get gas when you was in a decent neighborhood, now your gas light is flashing. The only gas station you're approaching is the gas station in the hood, where it's these 4 or 5 thugs hanging out in front of the Citgo, and you just want to get some gas so you could gas up your car and get going. And you're not planning, when you pull into the gas station, that these dudes are going to rob you, hold you up at gunpoint, jack you for your vehicle. Just one bad move can definitely change the dynamics of your life. And we have to be mindful that you have these demons, these devils, that are always on a prowl. They are always looking for people to slip. Just like this young lady, Samantha. She made a mistake, and the devil played on that. You can be at the wrong place at the wrong time. It has nothing to do with you being a good person or a bad person. Just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. These demons catch you off guard when you're at your most vulnerable moment. You're in a rush to hurry up and get home. You just want to hurry up and go home so you can relax, take a shower. You're not thinking the car that you're getting into is not the Uber car. It's some crazed maniac who knows that he's not an Uber driver. So the moment this woman got in his vehicle, that was his opportunity to let her know, hey, I'm not an Uber driver. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, or if that's who you thought I was, but I'm not an Uber driver. So this is a very sick and twisted case, because there was no connection. There was no ties. Roland absolutely knew nothing about this woman. They were not exes. They did not get up once upon a time. This was the first time this woman ever encountered this man. So she was nowhere near expecting this. It wasn't like this was an abusive boyfriend, ex-boyfriend she was trying to run away from, had a restraining order out on, and she's trying to avoid him altogether. You have these evil infested individuals. They will prey on your mistakes, just slipping, not paying attention, not asking questions, being in a hurry, being in a rush. And this is not to insult her or to degrade her, because I very easily Any woman could have easily ended up in this type of situation. But we have to always be mindful that, you have these demons on the loose. They are seeking to devour someone. They are on a mission to destroy someone. You have a lot of people, I believe you have some people that are born as bad seeds, meaning they were only born and brought into this world to create evil and to commit evil deeds. I believe that you just have some men and some women that are just bad seeds. They have no purpose other than to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's basically how I feel about Mr. Nathaniel Rowland. So basically, totally heartless, is an understatement describing this dude. Judge further stated in all of his years, the judge who was actually trying over this case, he stated in all his years that he has seen hundreds of murder cases, but this was one of the far worse, severe, and horrific. I can only imagine stabbing somebody 120 times. That is past hate. That's overkill. This man killed this woman like there was something personal in between the both of them. Samantha's parents and family were very distraught. Her mother even stated that her dreams were my dreams. Her death was my death. I close my eyes and I feel what she endured at his hands. And there's a very powerful statement coming from a mother. You feel very defeated when your child's life has been taken by another child that's cold, heartless, can sit right in front of you, have no remorse, can look at you with a blank stare. And when I tell you, if y'all, check out any of the courtroom clips pertaining to Nathaniel Rowland, you can definitely look at his whole attitude throughout that trial. He was very nonchalant. He had the audacity to be writing notes, taking notes with a pen, like he was going to have some valid arguments or make some valid points. This man was just totally oblivious. I don't know if it was an act, so he can manipulate, or sway the jury, or if he really was, oblivious. Like, if he really didn't comprehend the severity of his actions. And the unfortunate part is you really have some people who will go out here like lions and devour people, and they have no sense of intelligence or basic knowledge to understand the severity of how their actions could affect people. So again, if you get a chance to view the trial, please do. I would definitely tell you, it will definitely put you in your feelings if you are a human being. I have a stone cold killer who stabbed a woman 120 times, and for him to be sitting up there all dignified and acting as if he's there for stealing out of Walmart or something simple. He just has a darkness in his face where he does not care, or he does not realize, or you have some murderers, from my understanding, that once they commit an act so heinous, it mentally takes a toll to the point they have to mentally block it out. They have to mentally not cope. They have to act like they never did it, because them really phantoming the reality of what they have done is too much to mentally endure. And it's strange, because you would think because somebody would commit such an extreme, severe, criminal, animalistic act, you would think that they wouldn't be able to mentally block something out that severe. But trust and believe, you're walking around people every day. You're walking around murderers and thieves who, walk right past you in the street, and they just threw a dead body in the river somewhere, or just threw a dead body in a trunk, and riding around just as happy-go-lucky, sipping on a Starbucks like they don't have a dead body in their trunk. I mean, you have a lot of sick individuals out here, and the quicker you understand that, the safer you will be. For those of you who don't want to believe people like this exist, you want to be in denial, you want to act like that can never happen to you, be very mindful, because if you end up in this type of situation with these type of individuals, you're definitely going to have you're going to definitely struggle, because if you're that oblivious to think that it can't happen to you, and there's no way you could come across anybody that's sick, you're definitely setting yourself up to be taken advantage of. So nevertheless, her mother made a very deep speech. She basically stated, when I close my eyes, I feel what she endured at his hands. As a mother, you could only put yourself in your child's shoes. And the same thing, I reckon, as a father, to know your child suffered that level of pain, and to have to encounter the man who did it to her. And the fact that as a parent, you was not there to protect that child. And I could only imagine what was going through Samantha's mind. She probably was thinking about her parents. And from what the testimony states, is that she fought with all her might. She fought and fought and fought. So she was trying to stay here for her family, and definitely trying to fight to keep her life. She fought a good fight, but he overpowered her. And of course, when you have a man with that level of evilness and wickedness in them, you can't conquer an evil person. And it's even worse when they're physically stronger than you, because their wickedness alone enhances. It gives them an adrenaline rush to follow through with the pain they're trying to inflict upon you. So this was a very scary, tragic moment for this young woman. She did not see this coming. She thought she was just going to go home and lay down. That's just beyond psychotic, to stab a woman 120 times. I mean, there's no way a person like this can be left out here in the world amongst us. Especially people who got daughters, you got nieces, that's scary. A man, and you know how many men walk around here with this level of anger towards women, and we be in the clubs with them, we be in the church with them, we be in the grocery store with them, and some of these guys are attractive. They're not always ugly looking men. I mean, if you look at Ted Bundy was a ladies' man. He was a nice looking white guy, but underneath his looks, he was a straight psycho. He was a serial killer. He was going around killing multiple women, and didn't even have to. He had the type of looks. He could pull any woman he wanted. He didn't just want women, he wanted to kill them. So this is why women have to be careful what they're up against. This is why you need to be picking up dudes, moving them in your house with you and your children, because you don't know what kind of demons you're opening your household to. But nevertheless, moving forward, Nathaniel Rowland was found guilty and given life in prison, as he should be. Now, after Rowland had been convicted, his mother had the hood rat audacity to still try to shed light about her son to the court. So, of course, this case gets interesting. Again, if you look it up on YouTube, you could actually type in the video. You could type in, actually in the search box, judge confronts mother for speaking on son's behalf, however, or you can just put in Nathaniel Rowland's mother speaks on his behalf. And this lady stands up after this family has already gone through hell and back, hearing the gruesome and graphic details of their daughter's death. This woman had the audacity to stand up in the court and try to defend her satanic son's shenanigans. And this is why I felt it was imperative that we discuss this mommy's boy syndrome, male rearing, because this is an issue that happens quite frequently, and we're definitely going to go more into it. So, of course, the mommy's boy, Rowland's mommy, felt the need to still try to shed light on psychotic, narcissistic son. Because again, evidently, denial is just not a river in Egypt, and denial definitely runs through this family. It's bad enough her son won't take accountability for his actions, but his mother is no better. So what I am going to do is I'm going to play a snippet of Nathaniel Rowland's mother, who spoke during the court hearing, and I want y'all to listen to how she tries to justify her son's actions. And this is definitely a prime example. This is the reason why you have so many young black males in the criminal justice system, because they know that their mommies are going to defend them no matter how immoral, how sick, or how satanic their actions are. So I'm going to play a snippet. That way y'all can hear for yourselves how she tries to justify the actions of her son's criminal motives. So we're going to go ahead and proceed, and I'm going to play the snippet right now.
If it please court, Your Honor, if you would hear from Nathaniel Rowland's mother first.
Okay.
Fair use, fair use.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state have accused our son of a crime that he didn't commit.
Ma'am, I'm not going to hear
all right.
any claim of innocence.
Okay.
He's been convicted by the jury.
Okay. He's a very caring young man. This is a young man who went through high school, college, played ball, active in his church, never had anything against him.
Fair use.
Now, I know as a mother, and a mother knows her child, I know my son didn't do this. I know.
How do you know that?
Sir,
How do you know that?
by the way I raised him.
Pardon?
By the way I raised him. And when you're a mother, and you're a truly good mother, and you raise your child in the right way, you would know when that child had done something or did something right or wrong. I can't.
Fair use.
And I know he didn't do this.
Ma'am, I'm
But,
not going to hear any
yes, sir.
claim that of what
Okay.
he did or didn't do.
Yes,
He is guilty of murder. He's
Yes,
guilty
sir.
of kidnapping.
Yes, sir.
He's guilty of possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. And if you had any testimony that you wanted to give for the jury to consider, the trial was the time to do that. I'm not listening to any claim of what he did not do. You are not a witness.
But he's a loving child. He's a good person. Very respected and respect others. And I thank the court.
Thank you.
So after Rowland was found guilty and given life in prison, the mother tried to shed light about her son in the court instead of taking the stand to show some sorrow and empathy towards the victim's family. She says to the judge, "I don't know what happened, but I know deep down in my heart that this young man didn't do this." So I notice a lot of this goes on, even in the profession I am in as a corrections officer. There's been times where I have witnessed cases with these inmates in the process of, transporting them to court and being in the courtrooms, or observing the trials through satellite. Because of the pandemic, there's not too many courts that are allowing criminals to actually attend trial in person. A lot of it is being done through satellite, which I think is actually better, because when you hand down these sentences, you never know how these offenders are going to respond and want to fight or throw chairs at the judge. You just don't know what you're up against, because it's a very emotional moment. But it was very disturbing to me that Nathaniel's father, he actually was the one who made the statement that he don't know what happened, but I know deep down in my heart that this young man didn't do this. The father was totally in complete denial. Now, keep in mind, Nathaniel Roller's parents sat there throughout this whole trial just like Samantha Josephson's parents. So everybody heard all the gruesome and graphic details. Everybody knows that Nathaniel Rowland is the individual who committed this crime. They found the DNA in his fingernails. I mean, I can go detail by detail, but I'm not going to walk y'all through a whole trial. If you're interested in it, like I said, type in Nathaniel Rowland trial or court date. However, the main details is his parents did not want to believe that their sweet satanic son, they didn't even feel he could do such a thing. They didn't even think it was in them. And you know what? You have a lot of parents that are like that. And I tell all parents, even myself, being a mother of one, and my daughter's grown, don't be so quick to run and defend your children, even if you felt like it's not in their nature to do stuff. Because let me tell you something. I don't care how well you raise these children. At the end of the day, they got a mind of their own. You could teach them right from wrong. You can keep them in Sunday school. You could church them to death. You could put them in private school, put them in the best of schools to avoid having them live in the hood. You could put them on sports to keep them occupied. As a parent, all of those things are wonderful and great. But at the end of the day, when these children get grown up to make their own decisions, you have to respect the fact that they're not going to always follow the advice that you have given them. And you need to be prepared for that. Again, the first statement that was implied was by the father. Now, this is what the mother said. The state has accused our son. This is how she said it. She stood up in the courtroom. Now, picture all of the victim's family there grieving. Her family is there grieving. And this is what she had the audacity to stand in front of the courtroom and say. The state has accused our son of a crime that he didn't commit. Now, she says this at the beginning of her son's sentencing. Judge Newman cut her off immediately. Ma'am, I'm not going to hear any claim of innocence. He has already been convicted by jury. She further goes on and still praising her demonic son as a very caring young man who went through high school and college and was very active in church. She continued to insist on his innocence. Proverbs 29, verse 15. The rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself brings shame to his mother. Now, you can always learn a lot about a child depending on how the parent behaves. Just the fact that this woman, and this is a grown woman who's been on this earth long enough to know that there's a difference between right and wrong. And for this lady to be up at her age and stand here in front of this victim's family and look at them in their face and actually tell them that, to actually go on and state, this is a continuation of what she said. She further says, now I know as a mother, and a mother knows her child, I know my son didn't do it, said Nathaniel's mother, Loretta Rowland. And how do you know that? Asks Judge Newman. Exactly. She replies, by the way I raised him. Judge replies, pardon? So this judge is just as broad as I am. Now keep in mind, not that it makes a difference, but the judge is black. And he's listening to this black woman sit up here and completely deny her son's guilt. And she still had the audacity to stand in front of a grieving family. I know by the ways I raised him. She further goes on and says, when you're a mother, and truly a good mother, and you raise your child the right way, you would know when that child has done something or did something right or wrong. I can, and I know he didn't do this. The sad part is that the woman is so confident in her mother's skills, she doesn't want to believe that her son is capable for even committing this type of criminal offense. As if, when did being a good mother exempt your child from not being a criminal? Know how many inmates are overflooding the county jail? And you think it's only because all of them had bad mothers, all of them had bad fathers? No. You just have some children that are bad seeds. They can be raised in two-parent household, because there's this myth that only troubled children come from single-parent households. But Jeffrey Dahmer had both his parents, and in this case, so did Nathaniel Rowland. So what was his excuse? Because he had a black father figure, unlike a lot of black men around here who don't even know who their daddy is, and he had a mother. So he was raised in a two-parent household. It did not prevent him from going out there killing and taking somebody else's life. So, in this instance, his parents definitely failed him. And not to say I'm blaming them 100% for their son going out there murdering this other young lady, but I will say the way they raised them, just hearing the way she talks, he didn't stand a chance. Mr. Rowland, like many delusional mothers in the black community, have raised their sons to be emotionally unstable and emotionally undisciplined. There are many reasons as to why you have mothers out there like Loretta Rowland, who has enabled her son's demonic behavior. And this has caused him to be a threat to society for anyone that encounters him. You have a lot of women that have programmed little boys into becoming big monsters. As you can see, like I said, denial definitely runs in this family. The father don't feel he's done anything wrong. The mother doesn't feel her son's done anything wrong. She don't even feel she did anything wrong. Let her tell she's a good mother. Even though her son stabbed this woman 120 times for no reason, she's a good mother. No, ma'am, something in the buttermilk ain't clean. Somewhere you ain't been keeping up. And I'm not going to say it's not any of his fault, because it is. But as a parent, there's just no way you didn't see some signs. This mother saw some signs, but you have a lot of these mommy's boys. They create mommy's boys, and they are afraid of their own sons. There's a lot of women out here that have created their handsome sons to be monsters. They don't even have the balls to tell their sons what to do. They're scared to ask them to take out the trash. You have a lot of women out here who have children that they cannot connect with. Just because a woman has a child, it does not mean that she's connecting well with that child. You have some parents that are great providers, but when it comes down to parenting and being one-on-one, they're not going to do that. This is the unfortunate part, is that you have a lot of these young men that are being raised in unhealthy circumstances. And basically, they're out here having to fend for themselves for the most part. And a lot of them are emotionally unstable and emotionally undisciplined. For this man to stab this young woman 120 times, he was beyond mentally unstable. He was behind, totally. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind. That's why I'm doing this content. You have a lot of grown, childish men that still haven't been weaned off the nipple. Have a lot of women out here, they will not wean their sons off the nipples. You have grown women that are still breastfeeding that are basically male rearing. And just like we hear the word child rearing, and for those who are not familiar with either one, child rearing is one of those. It's like it's a strap type that a parent sits in front of them with the child in it, so they can hold the child while the child is strapped and closely to their body. So instead of having to hold that child in their arms, where your arms can get heavy sometimes depending on how long you held the child, it's like this wrap. It's like this Velcro wrap that helps you to be able to put the child in front of you, while you're able to move around and your hands are free because you're not holding the baby. It's called a child rearing. A child rearer. It's made to keep the child close to your bosom. That way the child is protected. And that way that helps the mother not feel so distant from her child's well-being. Well, that is what I mean by male rearing, where you have some mothers who hold their sons so close to their breasts and their chest. They are afraid to wean them off the nipple. You have grown men over the age of 24 who still depend on their mamas, live with their mamas, coming back and forth in and out of mama house. That's how this mama boys syndrome is created. That's how this male rearing trend we going through right now, where you have these grown men that they want to keep sucking off a Similac. They want to keep sucking off a nipple. They're not ready to wean off the nipple and drink out of a cup. They're not ready to grow and elevate themselves to something bigger and better. They done got comfortable. And the reason why I done got comfortable is because you have these mothers that have always treasured their sons, or if they didn't treasure their sons, a lot of them have allowed their sons to get away with murder due to the fact that they either lost that marriage or they had that child, or that child was conceived in the process of no marriage ever even occurring. All of this comes with the territory of these mommy's boys who have created their little princes to become big monsters. So she actually continued to praise this man, her demonic son. She praised him and thought she was making a point when she stated that he's a very caring young man. Caring about what? Lady, that's an insult in front of the victim's family. Because why would you say that when this man clearly indicated that he doesn't care about anybody's parents? So she'd have an empathy for this man's for the Josephsons, and she thought by trying to shed light to the judge it was going to work. He's a very caring young man who went through high school and college and was very active in church. Like the devil don't like. There's no devils and demons in the church. There's no devil and demons in college and high school. Lady, your child got to be prayed up regardless. Regardless of what. Because if not, he got some demons out there waiting on him. You have a lot of these women who have set up here and created their sons to be better males. That if you were expecting him to do his share as a young man that's still living up under your roof, you have to realize a lot of these young men aren't being taught responsibilities, aren't being given responsibilities. I have a lot of mommy's boys. You have these grown men that are still living with their mamas. No, there's no father in the home in some cases, so they take full advantage of that. They take full advantage of the fact that lost my train of thought, but they change. It's a lot, unfortunately, that comes with the territory of dealing with a mama's boy. You have a lot of these grown women who have enabled their grown sons. It's women in their 70s and 80s. And they still got their 50 and 60-year-old sons that live with them. And they're so fretful, they're afraid to put them out. You're not realizing also, a lot of women don't want to be transparent in this, but a lot of these guys, they don't believe in being a man. They have no problem laying on your sofa 12 to several hours at a time. They'll crash right on your sofa. They don't feel bad seeing a woman go to work every day, and every time she gets off from work, he's still laying in the same position he was laying in before she left. You have some men, some of these young men in this day and age, they're not even embarrassed to not be able to provide. Back then, I remember if a woman wanted to borrow money from her father or borrow money from somebody, you would have a man that'd be like, no, we're going to suffer this out. You know, I'm not my pride. I'm not about to go to my family and let my family know I need to feed you. No, I'm going to go out here and bust my ass if I got to get 2, 3, 4 jobs to make sure you eat. But we're in a society of watered masculine men who only think masculinity is in the penis. Are in their strength as far as manipulating women. So it's very interesting. And there's a lot of things that encounter this type of behavior, this mommy's boy syndrome. The first thing being, toxic mothers have never weaned their sons from their nipples. Meaning you have mothers that have never allowed their sons to become a man. It starts off by not giving them responsibilities. And there's that boys will be boys attitude that actually gives mothers, causes mothers for that matter, to give their sons a pass and not being responsible for themselves. I know women that never made their sons take out trash, cut the lawn, work small jobs. If you really take a look around your neighborhood, when was the last time you seen a young man cut grass? If you've seen one recently, once or twice, then that's good. But for the most part, especially in the hood, you're not going to see these young men come out and cut no grass or sweep the front porch. Because you have some mothers that are sexist with their sons. They act like teaching them to wash dishes, that's a woman thing. Or telling him to get some dinner ready before you get home. Oh, that's a woman thing. It's this boys will be boys mentality. I heard a female, when her son was getting off the chain and getting all type of malicious trouble in school and at home, and when I asked her about it, her attitude was, well, boys will be boys. And a lot of people not understanding your sons are just as much danger as your daughters. Even though your sons can't get pregnant, they can get several women pregnant. So don't think because you have a son you off the hook, because a lot of them out here are raw dogging and sleeping with all type of young women, and they're not going to learn to stop until they either catch something or get pregnant. So that's the first thing, is they never made their sons responsible. They ain't made them cut no grass. They never made them take no lawn out. Just got them looking cute with Timberland boots on. And that's it. The next thing is, a real mother has to identify early during her son's youth if he's going to become a threat to society. Mothers allow their sons to throw tantrums, hit little girls, become sore losers when they lose in a video game or sports, being overly emotional or red flags. It's a lot of mothers who have seen a lot of dysfunctional behavior in their sons, and yet they have learned to make sense of it in their own perverted mind. It's things as a mother you have to pay attention to. It's not so much major things just waiting for them to go to prison, but it's the little things that lead up to that. The fact that he has anger issues. If you and your son have had numerous arguments and he's punching the walls or he's lashing out or doing something out of the ordinary that you can't control, you might want to consider that as a major sign that you're likely to have some problems with him. Young males who hit little girls. Yeah, it may be cute in kindergarten, but when it starts getting middle school, and a lot of these schools ain't even playing that. It's zero tolerance. But y'all know these young men do that. They never listen anyway. After watching this video, they'll turn around and do the opposite of exactly what I told them not to do. And that's just something they're just going to have to find out on their own. You could lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink it. So that's something to think about. When they get mad when they lose a game or their favorite team didn't do well. I mean, honestly, how well does this man work under pressure? Does he throw tantrums? This is something a lot of mothers, if you have a son, regardless of his age, that's banging the walls, throwing tantrums, getting upset, getting attitudes easily, I'm going to let you know now you got your work cut out for you. Third thing is, mothers that defend all their sons' wrongdoings create monsters. You have some mothers that are ride or die. They will defend their son till it was in. It don't matter how many people he killed. It don't matter how many people he stole from, how many houses he broke into. They don't care about none of that. At the end of the day, a lot of these mothers only care about their sons. They don't care what their sons do to other people. So they constantly defend their sons until they get in a situation their sons, they can't defend them. I've seen it 1,000 times. You have these mothers who come up in society and so busy trying to do them, so busy dressing up, trying to get a man, or so busy hiding behind their independency and all this and that. Meanwhile, they're losing track of their sons. Their sons are sneaking in and out the window, sneaking girls over to the house while she's not there. These young people, they're more wickeder and wiser, and at this point they're pulling all kind of stunts that's new to us, that you're not going to always be able to catch. Sons have become the substitute for single mothers. I mean, let's face it, you got a lot of single women out here. They treasure their sons that helps fulfill that temporary void of not having a man around in the house. Now, there's been a lot of instances in which you have single mothers who have moved men in the house that they did not know well. And, you know, the men, not all of them, but some of them had enough sense to be able to read a person and read that a person might not be too fond of them. And it was just certain stuff he picked up on, you know. But this, again, this is it's a sad notion that you have a lot of these women who won't let their sons be sons, just enjoy their youth, but at the same time make them responsible, prepare them to be a man, get them to take the trash out, get them to cut the grass, get them to wash the car. A trifling young man, he's going to become a trifling old man. Which part of that do y'all not understand? You got a lot of grown women who let their sons, 18 through 25, in some cases, some of these grown men are 50s, 60, not even married, just don't want to leave mama because mama has become a safe haven. Mama is the safety net. This woman said up here and stated that her son is loving and caring, ironically. And she considered herself a good mother. But I'm a good mother. I'm tired of people up here defending their children like you know your kids 24/7. Kids play different hats depending on where the hell they are. I know when my daughter comes home to my house, she's putting on a I'm going to be a good girl cap. Then when she leaves and she hits the club, I'm a wild out tonight. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. That's just the reality. The prisons and correctional institutions are overcrowded with male incels that have been enabled by their mothers since birth. So the question lies, why are women still cuddling and breastfeeding their grown men? These grown sons. And that's for many reasons. I know one of the number one reasons, and I've already gave y'all some factors, but just to add a little bit more to the equation. A lot of these women they can't stop breastfeeding is because their guilt of being a single mother. You have a lot of these single women out here who know they got knocked up by bums, and in order for them to prevent anything happening to them, it's imperative as a single mother, you can't allow guilt to eat you up to where because they didn't have a man in the home, or you feel you failed your son, you don't get along with the father, or you got knocked up from a dude who you didn't expect to get pregnant from, but you didn't take all the precautions or whatever. A lot of single mothers, they will allow their sons to get away with murder because they feel guilty that they wasn't able to give the son a man in their life or keep a man in their life. So therefore, they allow their sons to get away with murder. And it's not a good thing at all, because you're lonely, or, your son is a mini reflection of the man that you're still in love with. You can't be using these things as a reason to still try to hold on to them. At some point, you got to stop pacifying them. You got to take the nipple out the mouth. The longer you let a child keep sucking off your nipple and you're not letting that nipple breathe, it's going to crack. It's going to get rough. And you have a lot of grown women out here that have created these mommy's boys. This mama boy syndrome. That's why this young man felt okay with stabbing this young lady for 120 times. Because his mama and his daddy has always pretty much covered his wrongdoing. If they did that in this one trial, imagine how many other goddamn things they covered up for him. How many other times they came to the rescue and lied. And to sit up here in the courtroom and act like, this is not in my son's nature. This is not in his character. And see, a lot of times, let me tell you something about the law. A lot of these judges aren't dumb. They let you keep talking so you can hang yourself. That judge I know the moment that judge heard when this woman opened her mouth, he was already expecting her to say some foolishness. Because it's in our culture as black men and black women, we're just able to detect when somebody's going to say something dumb. And she definitely proved that by sitting up here defending him. And she may be defending him out of guilt, because maybe she knew all this time she should have been there more for him and she wasn't. But whatever the case was, they both going to have to do the time. They both going to serve time. And they've already nailed him to the cross, and he very much deserved it. He took this woman's life for nothing. And the bad part is, he got parents that back him up, so guess what? He's definitely not going to take accountability, because neither one of his parents are man enough or woman enough to tell him, look, son, you messed up. Look, son, you ruined your life, son. They sat right up there and didn't say a word and still defended this young man. But you know what? It's cool, because as a parent, you'll find out no matter how much you defend your child, depending on the severity of the crime, your parent's opinion is not going to matter. You're going to be in that room getting interrogated and grilled, and if none of your answers sound legitimate, you just consider it a loss. It's just very unfortunate that we're in a society where you have a lot of these women who are going to defend their sons. We see it all the time. We've seen plenty of crime stories in which these children have committed very heinous acts of crime, and when the mother or the father is confronted about it, it's one or two things that happen. Either one, she's literally not going to know, because you have some parents that's just that much in denial. They don't think it can happen to them. Or two, they know but lied about it, or trying to play crazy. It's a lot of these factors to consider. when it comes to these type of situations. And now, due to this unfortunate, uncalled for, tragic event that has transpired, there are two parents that are going to be devastated behind this for life, especially the victim, the Josephsons. They have a daughter that's never going to come back, unfortunately. So this is going to be a permanent loss for them. And the unfortunate part is the Rollins. They're going to have to deal with the fact that their son is going to be in prison for life. And anybody who's been in prison, being the fact that he does not have a criminal record, he has never experienced being in prison before, it is definitely going to be a culture shock for him, because there are going to be things that he's going to go through in that prison that his parents are not going to be able to protect and cover him from. So note the parents. If you go all your life enabling your children, defending them, protecting them, sooner than later, when they end up in a situation such as Nathaniel, you're not going to be able to protect them from prison, okay? There's going to be a lot of odds against him, being that he's never been in prison, and he does not understand how the prison culture goes. He's definitely going to be in for a rude awakening. But nevertheless, my heart more so goes out to the Josephsons, who lost their beautiful daughter behind a better male who definitely lacks discipline and controlling himself, who's being controlled by his satanic deeds. So definitely my heart goes out to the family. So anyway, y'all, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about the situation with Mr. Nathaniel Rowland. Do y'all feel that his mother, this is not her first time enabling him, that she's been practically enabling him the majority of his life? Ironically, not only the mother, the father also, he tried to co-sign on the son's behalf. So it's not just black women who will defend their children's shenanigans. You have some black men as well who will defend their sons ride or die, knowing their sons are troubled, knowing their sons have that criminal mentality. So what is y'all intake on that? So anyway, make sure before you leave, please make sure you hit that like button. It's only a second. It's not going to charge you anything. If this video is kind of choppy or the editing is bad, this is a rushed project because I have not put out content in a while, and I know I was long overdue. So trust and believe the next upload is going to be much better, and it's going to be more thorough. Ladies, again, subscribe to Mocha's Ladies Lounge if you have not done so already. I'm going to be talking about poverty penis coming up soon on that channel as well. So y'all take care, be blessed. It is your girl, your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha. Remember, I'm going to always pour you a cup of truth, and I'm going to always break you off a slice of knowledge. Y'all be blessed. Take care.